Obama just got a second victory for the Supreme Court, as we've talked about. So now it looks like this thing's here to stay. And a new Gallup poll shows it's not with an unwelcome public. It's got its highest level of support that we've seen in polling in more than 3 years, still a point below water, but that's up just 10 points, I should say, since just last year. But when asked about it after the ruling, it's hard-pressed to find a GOP candidate that isn't bashing it. Most of them, they want to repeal it. The question is, are they fighting a losing battle? Nan, you were there from the inception of this. You've seen where this is. You see where the polling is trending and also with the younger demographic and how they feel about this. I thought there was two things, gay marriage and Obamacare, that the biggest winners, if they were upheld by the Supreme Court, or at least made the law of the land, that would eliminate a legislative or a political headache for Republicans running for office. Finally, the court took it off their plate. They don't have to.
Right.
It doesn't seem like they're going to move on, should they?
No, but they did miss an opportunity, and they've missed many opportunities. And I can tell you from the time that I was in Congress as a doctor, we would press, the physicians, the doctors caucus in the House would press the Republican conference, who had many good, smart, good-hearted members who wanted to accomplish this. We said, let's come out with a plan. We know what we think would work much better for people. We agree with the principles of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. We just think it's the wrong law. I still do. It is. It's the right goals, wrong law. And it's going to cost us ever more as we go along. We're just starting to realize the cost of these bad provisions. But the Republican Congress said, no, we could get shot down for the specifics of our plan. Let's just wait and let the negatives play out. Didn't work. So now we do have a situation in which we are stuck with a well-established law, and we're going to have to find solutions that work.
And Dominic, you ask the regular person out there what they know about the GOP. I think Nan said it, but they'll say they've tried to repeal the thing 50-something times. And at a certain point, it just looks like posturing, right? It's not going to go over there. You don't know. You don't have the votes, and no matter what even happened, the president's never going to sign it. So it's just a PR stunt. And that's how it looks. If they said, "All right, Dominic, give us free advice here. What should be the party line going forward?" Because we know we're not going to change it. It plays in the primary, but it's not going to help you in the general.
I would hammer away at Obamacare. It's not what the reality is. It's the perception, and the perception across America is that it was Obama at his lowest. It was a bureaucratic nightmare where you couldn't even get the websites up and running. Now, personally, I think it's a good thing. Okay, and especially as a parent with a child between that 22 and 25 age. But reality is not what's important. What's important is to connect with the base and get elected.
Do
so
you
attack
agree with me,
on
because
Obamacare.
I hear what he's saying, and it made sense to me. I would have maybe even bought that a year ago. But not just the poll we showed. Every poll shows there's a definite trend. And if you believe in the trending of the polls, come this time next year, it's going to be well above water. And the people most enthused about it, you can think they've never marketed this thing right once, that maybe they can figure out how to. She can't run away from it.
I think the perception is changing. We're seeing that in the numbers. We're also seeing that in people's access to health care, the number of people who have health care who didn't have it before. We heard before the Supreme Court ruled, well, what happens if they overturn Obamacare and X million number of people are going to lose their coverage? I think that's a selling point at this point for Democrats who want to support it. I think there are still tweaks that can and should be made to Obamacare, but I think Republicans run the risk of coming across as being a little cold on this if they keep hammering at it.
Tell me one Democrat that runs on it, on Obamacare. Nobody's stupid.
But
you're not going to run on it supporting it publicly.
But they don't run away from it. You're right. Nobody uses it as a campaign thing. But I've seen electeds, even at this table where we talk about it, they couldn't wait to change the subject. Now, they'll talk about the millions of people that have insurance now. They're talking about people that had pre-existing conditions that finally can get coverage and they can tell real stories to it. Everybody acknowledges, even the president, that you can probably tweak the thing a little bit more, but he hasn't had, frankly, the other alternatives that have forced him to go to the middle.
But Richard, just wait. New York has been touted as having a highly successful exchange. One of the key plans in New York State has to ask to raise its rates by 30%. Something like that next year.
Yeah.
All right.
It's very expensive.
Because the expenditures,
Insurance, and it's expensive.
but the expenditures are so
We'll keep fighting about this in the break here.
They can't
when we come
afford
back
to continue.
To get elected, no matter who you are, you got to let them vote. And the question is, Are we going about this the right way to get more people to participate? Instead of making it easier to vote, in a lot of states right now, their governors and attorney generals are actually making it harder to make your vote count. We'll be right back after this.